Good afternoon, people. I'm Jeanette Hill here. I'm going to give you a review of The Fallen, which I saw on Saturday, the 18th of May. So, Fallen is by Theatre Alliance, and I saw it at Webster's Theatre in Glasgow. Information from their website says Theatre Alliance was created in 2020 by Dr. Melissa Ross, and she's now the choreographer and artistic director of the company, and music director Stuart Bird. After many theatre, dance and musical theatre projects together, they formed a friendship and had a shared vision. And they go on to say that they strive to create challenging and innovative dance and musical theatre through stories untold, exploration and performance. We want to tell stories that need to be heard, they say, and present work that challenges the norm. Their focus is on new works, really performed works, exciting and innovative work, and certainly The Fallen was that. Previous stories they told include Scottish suffragettes story, Jacobite women from history, a mining disaster story from Ayrshire where they're based, and this performance starts with a recording of Nicola Sturgeon. In March 23, she issued, as she said, a sincere, heartfelt and unreserved apology for the forced adoptions carried out in Scottish mother and baby homes in the 50s, the 60s and the 70s. Thousands of unmarried women in Scotland were forced to give up their babies for adoption. The First Minister told Holyrood it was time to acknowledge the terrible wrongs that had been done. She said what happened to these women is almost impossible to comprehend. Fallen is telling the story of these girls and women. The term fallen referring to the social stigma and subsequent abuse poured onto females for getting pregnant outside marriage. The matinee of Fallen took place in front of a packed house of mainly women. During the performance, many of these women openly sobbed. Without a doubt, we were all collectively moved by the stories in the performance. The beautiful music performed by a live band enhanced the sense of loss, sadness and injustice invoked by the piece. Songs performed often with beautiful female harmonies revealed the powerful emotions where words were not enough. The sadness and effects on the lives of the treatment of these women are at times hard to hear, and the play conveyed their stories in dance and song as well as dialogue. This is well-researched theatre. These were real lives and real damage done, making the performances authentic as well as gut-wrenching. Clearly these stories were taken from real accounts. Many of these women and a few men, now in their 60s and maybe even in their 70s, had been irretrievably damaged by the injustice which was done to them. Because they were young, unmarried and mainly poor, they were given little choices. And the play witnessed this injustice. They were not told about housing or benefits or any other choices that they might have had. And they gave really little consent to these adoptions. This was the real handmaiden's tale. The girls were too poor and unempowered to have a say, to have a choice, or to fight the fallen stigma in order to keep their babies. The assumptions of the time from social work, healthcare, education, communities and their families were dealt with well, and the audience looked on in horror, many having lived through those assumptions and the consequences of them. The cruelty of expecting these women to carry on with their lives and forget what was made clear, and the audience understood this. As a 1959 born working class woman who had a baby out of wedlock in early 1980s, although I got to keep him, much of the actions and dialogue in the performance I recognised. Currently, us 1950s women are fighting the pension injustice of having our state pension age changed by 6 years. As I entered the show, I met some fellow WASPy campaigners. One said this story was really personal to her. She said, I had my baby stolen at the start of my adult life and I've got a stolen pension at the end of it. We have never had equality, she said to me. By the end of the performance, we heard again from Nicola Sturgeon's speech. Then we heard it was estimated that 60,000 women in Scotland and babies adopted simply because they were unmarried. The audience again gasped at the number. The performance ended to rapturous applause and a standing ovation. "I feel wrung out," said the woman next to me, and I understood what she meant, as I too did, and my friends felt very much affected by this excellent show and the cast performances. Fallen was a tale worth telling, and Theatre Alliance did it justice, something these women deserved. It was also a skilled piece of entertaining theatre.